For the first question, I had the user input each letter of the word Python, which you can see down here. And then I put that into the variable called Python string. And then I created an empty string called new string that holds the shortened version of the string, which is the length of the Python string minus 2. So using a for loop, you can make a new string that is Python with the last 2 letters withheld. So then I created another empty string to put the reverse string in, and then created a for loop that moves backwards through the string and holds the reverse string. And then it's printed out, so we get HTYP. And then for the next question, I had the user input 2 different numbers, which in my example I used 2 and 4. And then for the sum, I made them ints because they were originally strings, but to do the addition I needed ints. So I cast them to an int and added them, and then printed it out. And then I did the same thing for product, except use the multiplication symbol, and then same with quotient. And then finally, my last arithmetic operation was the mod. So 2 plus 4 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 divided by 4 is 0.5, and 2 mod 4 is 2. Then for this next question, I had the user enter a sentence. My example, I used "this is Python." I split the sentence at the spaces to make a list of all the words in the sentence. And then in my for loop, I made it the length of the sentence. So for each word, it would do an iteration. And then if the word is equal to Python, I changed it to Pythons plural. And then at the end, just printed the sentence. So it replaced the word Python with Pythons plural. And then I had the user enter a grade, and then used the if-else statements to decide what letter grade would be printed. So if it was 90 or above, that would be an A, 80 or above would be a B, 70 above would be a C, 60 above would be a D, and then otherwise it is an F. So my example, I use 79, which comes out to a C. Then for this one, I made a list of values. So this one is an int, this one is a string, and this one is a double. And then I made an empty list called type list so that I could create this output, which is a list of the types of the user input list. So for each item in the input list, I appended the type of that value. So it comes out to int, string, and float. Next, for all these questions about these 4 objects, I first started with the length of IT companies, which I just used the length function, and that came out to 7. And then I added Twitter to IT companies with the add method. So you can see here, Twitter is added to this set. Then I removed Facebook from IT companies, and here you can see that Facebook is no longer part of this set. Then I stated what the difference between remove and discard is. Remove will throw an error if the value entered does not exist, and discard does not. Then I used the union symbol to combine sets A and B. So here you can see is a combination of their values. As you'll notice, there are no duplicates because it is a set. So it threw out the duplicate values between the two sets. Then the intersection, I used the intersection symbol here. And as you can see, it is all the values that they have in common. Again, there are no repeats. And then yes, A is a subset of B because all the values of A can be found in B. And no, A and B are not disjointed because they have different values. And then to combine A and B and combine B and A, it ends up returning the same set as you can see here, this one and the following line. They're the exact same. And then the symmetric differences between A and B, so the intersection, which you can see down here. And then I used the delete method to delete both of the sets A and B. So if I were to try to print out A and B, it would return an error and would not let me do that because they no longer exist. Then I made a set out of the list age. So this list that was given here, I made it into a set just by using this method. And then I went ahead and printed it so that you could see that right here. And then to compare the length of the list versus the set, the list was originally 8 values long, and the length of the set is 5. The reason that the set has less values is because it throws away the duplicates. So each number only appears once.